Execution. It's getting the right things done. Today we're talking about the third key to making sure we execute on everything we need to. This is your Weekly Kick. Hey, good morning. Welcome to your Weekly Kick. Today we're talking about the third key for execution. The third key to make sure we get the right things done. The first key was making sure we're clear about what we want to get done. The second key was setting deadlines for when we're going to take specific action steps to get those things done. The third key is accountability. Every one of us needs to be accountable. We hear this all the time. We talk about it a lot until it actually means very little anymore. Accountability is simply this: being held to the commitments that we've made. Being someone holding us to the agreements and the commitments that we've made in the past. That's all accountability is. It's pretty simple. The reality is, though, it's hard to implement because our first response is what? When someone challenges us, when someone pushes us, that we haven't kept to our commitments. Often our first response is defensiveness. We get a little bit angry. We make excuses. We make reasons why it didn't happen. We rationalize it away. We move our deadlines. That's not accountability. Accountability is when we let someone push us, is when we let someone say, hey, you're not doing what you said you were going to do. When are you going to do it? These people can be our coworkers. It can be our peers. It can be our boss. They should be holding us accountable anyway, but it can even be our peers. It can be a spouse, a significant other. It can be a close friend. Most important, though, it needs to be ourselves. We need to hold ourselves accountable for the promises, for the agreements that we've made, and for execution, and the things that we need to execute on. The people we should first and foremost keep our promises to is ourselves. If we're not keeping ourselves accountable, and we are not making sure that we're keeping our promises to ourselves, then we're in trouble. So often we think that making promises to ourselves and keeping them isn't enough. Well, the reality is, it's the biggest one we need to keep. If I don't keep my promises to myself, it's hard to keep promises to somebody else. It's easy to make excuses. When someone makes excuses to me or rationalizes why they didn't have time to do something, if it's a friend or someone I'm close to, even my spouse, my first instinct is to believe them. Go, yeah, I understand that. But we need to be harsh with ourselves. We need to be brutally honest. I didn't have time. Oh, yes, you did. You spent an extra half hour on the internet that you didn't need to, or you spent an extra hour watching TV or reading something mindless. I need to be brutal with myself about keeping promises to myself, about execution, about why I didn't execute or what I need to change in order to execute from this point on. So, execution is made up of three key points right here. Be clear about what we want to get done. Secondly, set deadlines for getting specific action steps done to get us in that direction. And third, accountability. It could be our boss, it could be a peer, a coworker, it could be our spouse or significant other, but it has to be ourselves, first and foremost. So, there you go, execution in a nutshell. Starting next week, we're going to be looking at a chapter out of my new book. It's called More Than a Hammer, Leadership Tools for the Trades, and the chapter's on conflict. I have 15 rules for productive conflict in that chapter. In the next 4 weeks, we're going to be looking at 4 of them. So I look forward to spending some time with you in the next 4 weeks talking about how can we engage in productive conflict. We'll see you next Wednesday. Have a great weekend.